Good afternoon. Welcome back to United TV. We're going to cover today's Manchester United transfer stories and other news around the club. There is a few stories about Marcus Rashford, but that's not going to be the main focus of today. But Marcus Rashford, apparently Barcelona are continually monitoring that situation. So as far as we know, no change in that situation. And I did say this, I don't think we're going to find out about Marcus Rashford until right near the end, and I wouldn't be surprised if Barcelona put a crap offer on the table and Man United maybe consider it. So again, no news really regarding Rashford, but we're going to be looking at Sander Berge, and are Man United pushing to sign Sander Berge? And if they are pushing to sign Sander Berge, would that be a good deal? That's going to be one where we'll talk about that in a bit more detail today, and that's going to be the focus. Also, the clock is definitely ticking. It's the 17th of August. We talked about this a month ago, 2 months ago, where we said loads of time left, lots of time in the window. And as the window is ticked by, Manchester United, we've got Tielemans in, we've got Santos in, a couple of young players signed that Man United looking at getting players for the next generation. But in terms of first team signings, we saw on the weekend more is required. We probably need a left back and a midfielder, and this is not asking. This is not me asking to spend crazy amounts of money. We haven't bought a good left back for a long time. We're talking about a decade, haven't we? Like 12 years of it since we got Luke Shaw, so it's a long time. So also welcome people to the stream. If you got some like thoughts on anything we're talking about as well, please get these in as well. You already said they changed the transfer strategy, so I was going to like make a joke and go. So you're saying there's a strategy and we're changing it. So Man United sure you need to have a transfer strategy. I think regarding like Yardi's comment, what he means here is Manchester United seem to have like a set of guidelines, a set of criteria of which transfers were assessed by. One of them was going to be age, one of them was going to be like resale value, etc. We know that if you applied these criteria strictly, you don't sign Tielemans. Like Tielemans doesn't have a resale value beyond a few years, and also he's the wrong age of whatever age they had as a guideline as well. So it doesn't really fit with what Man United originally we thought were planning, and it's probably now making people think what is going on. No one knows what is going on at all. But in terms of this one, if this is going to be a transfer that Man United pursue, and again, let's just take it seriously for a second and say, right, if Man United are going to be looking at Sander Berge, and the reasons why this might happen is that for one, okay, he's not going to be an £85 million signing. And when I saw a story this morning on a couple of different newspapers, they pushed this story and they were saying Manchester United again interested in Wharton. Apparently yesterday Wharton was back on the list, but I don't know. According to other sources, it looks like the most likely destination for him is going to be Liverpool, and it looks like the price is going to cost is going to be significantly higher than what Man United have been spending. So it's going to be like probably 80, 85 million. I'd imagine if Liverpool are interested, then I guess on what they've been paying recently, it could be near the top end of whatever people are thinking as well. So we go back to the Sander Berg story, and multiple accounts this morning are saying Man United pushing to sign him and Manchester United interested, etc. All these kind of like cliches we've been seeing, but Sander Berg looks like a more likely deal than just financially looks like a more likely deal. And is it a good one? It's obviously a short term one. Like it's obviously short term, but is that going to be appropriate for Man United? Is it the same? I think it's the same energy as going right. Instead of getting Lewis Hall at left back, we get Robinson at left back. He's going to be a good player next season, but it's not a long term option. And Sander Berg again, if he's 28, yeah, it's like he's a decent player, but this does not feel like a strategy. This is not like City doing Bawardi and Anderson, is it? That's the opposite end of that one. So again, let me know your thoughts in the chat as well. So, Bob said, hey, speak up, Stu. Manchester United didn't do a deal in January and they said, look, we're saving everything for the summer. I mean, wow. Imagine if we actually did a transfer in January, we'd have a budget of like Scunthorpe this summer. So I don't know what's happening regarding this one. We're saving the money. I'm a bit concerned that maybe we're saving the money for dividends. I know Ineos have been here close to 3 years. They weren't allowed to take any dividends out for 3 years. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but yeah. Why would Ineos want Berg? He's got no sell-on value, and exactly, I think that's what Yachty was saying about in terms of a change of strategy that he's not going to have sell-on value. Danny says, not saying Berg is a bad player, but this is pretty pathetic the way we're going about things this summer. And say you're expecting Wilcox to be sacked by January. So I don't know. I suppose this one, if something goes wrong with Manchester United next season, then obviously Carrick will be under pressure. I don't think by fans. I think myself and other fans I know will be looking at the transfers. If Manchester United don't back Carrick and Man United struggle, I don't think people are going to be going, look what Carrick's doing. They're going to be looking at the squad thinking, like, where should this squad finish? Like, why is the squad not being improved? And the fact we got Champions League football, there's literally no excuses there as well. There's no way they're going to get relegated though, Marbs. I think to get relegated, like we've seen, like Spurs look like they're trying to get relegated for years, so that's not going to happen. Um, Naz says, "Don't be fooled. They definitely got money. Yeah, there's definitely money there. I think most people will say, look, Manchester United, we cleared the big debt problem we had, and okay, we've got to pay transfer fees. We know that we've got to pay transfer debt. We know that the same as Liverpool have to pay transfer debt, but now we can borrow money if we want to, even if we haven't got liquid cash at the moment. And any transfers we do, you don't pay the money up front. You pay the money over the next 4 or 5 years. So if Manchester United buy some big players, you're paying for that player over the next few years. You're not paying it all up front anyway. So, and hopefully the profitability of the club is going to be massively improved over the next 3 or 4 years. So I don't really buy into the excuse about money. There's definitely money to spend if you want to spend, but yeah, we'll have to see. Yannis says also regarding the Wilcox thing, if Man United do mess up, we have seen that Jim Radcliffe won't take responsibility, but I'm pretty sure he will sack somebody and he will be looking for a scapegoat. And Wilcox is probably, I would say this one, regarding this one, Wilcox is probably the one that might go if he does go. Like if you're looking, if Man United consider the transfer window a bit of a mistake or they mess up, I think Wilcox would be the one person to go. Apparently, he has the biggest say, so ultimately he has to take responsibility at the moment. But I guess like with other players or people as well, like Barada may not be 100% safe. But like yeah, maybe Christopher Bell does want his job, Yardi. Maybe you're right. And saying, but there is a big chance of Bell is not at United next summer. He got a big offer from Milan. Maybe with this one as well, that if he's got the ambition, then maybe with Jim Radcliffe, maybe it's a question of like, if you want to keep Vivell, and a lot of people think he's the brains behind some of the better signings, then if you want to keep Christopher Vivell in a job, then maybe you're gonna have to promote him and give him like the authority to make the calls that which at the moment probably lies with Wilcox. But that's kind of a different story, isn't it? But that's something that might happen. I mean, it would be a bit bizarre if he ends up going to AC Milan if Ruben Amorim is still there. I mean, we don't know if he's going to be still there next year either. But he might do and for that reason he might do that as well. Scott's saying they manage the debt by inflating the value of the club. Everything is bet on the new stadium that the club will not own, and saying people being hoodwinked by billionaires. I think most people I know think Man United can spend money, and the question is going to be, what's the reason they're not? Do they feel they can do things on the cheap? And is this a similar strategy to Arsenal? If you remember Arsenal when they built their new stadium, they went for cheaper players and younger players in particular. And with this one, if Manchester United are going to buy younger and younger players, you think like Santos, Dorgu, and Aiden Heaven, for example, and the signings they got recently, Thompson from Spurs, and they're looking at Page from Leicester as well. If you're going to sign those sort of players, you do need to have a bit more experience in the squad as well. And it's probably cheaper to get people like Sanderberg. The question is going to be how much will Sanderberg cost? I did see a comment saying that someone in the comments, I think Gary said he's guessing that they want £60 million. £60 million seems like way too much. Um, I did see a Fulham site though talking about this and saying that they want to try and get double what they paid for him. And I'm not sure how much Fulham paid for Sanderberg. I thought it was about 25 million. but they want to get a profit on the deal for sure. But there are Fulham fans that look at it and think they don't want him to go as well. I mean, Fulham are losing some players as well. They don't want to be in a relegation fight, do they? Stu says the problem is none of these is best in class, and so if you're talking about the people at the top of the decision-making process, then can they actually agree on anything at all? That apparently Man United don't move for a signing unless everybody agrees, and that's Barada, Wilcox, Jim Radcliffe, Vivell, the data team, scouts. So that seems to be there's too many people involved. Like that seems like there's a process where too many people are making a decision, and maybe that's why we're so slow, possibly with this one. Yeah, I was saying, based on this, they speaking of the new stadium, you read a story that United have applied to hold the Champions League finals in 2030 in the new stadium. I mean, it's 2026. Man United have not even started building a new stadium. So you're saying, is it possible to build a 100k stadium in 3 years' time? The question I've got is the new camp Barcelona, that's going to be open. I think that's open this summer, and the capacity at the moment is only 60,000, but they can have games there. And eventually the capacity is going to be 110,000. I'm not sure how many years Barcelona have been playing at the Olympic Stadium, but they haven't been playing the new camp for at least a year. So I would say with this one, if you're trying to do this in 3 years' time, it could be possible. It could be, but I'm not sure how many. I'm not sure how close they are to even getting the money or the funding. But knowing it's Manchester United and knowing it's a stadium build, I think usually stadiums take longer than you expect. Um, Anything over 30, says Danny B, is madness. I think he's going to cost more than 30. Like, unfortunately, that my guess was going to be about 40. I don't think Sander Berg's going to cost, say, 30 or less. If you think that if he costs Fulham about 25 million, he's going to cost a bit more than that. So yeah, no, no, no on that deal for me. And I think if you start going about 50 or 60, United, I thought they paid 30 million pounds for Berg. It might have been something like that. Um, if it was like 30 million, it depends on what currency you're going for. So if you're going, I was thinking in pounds, I was thinking about 40 million pounds. If you're thinking about 60 million euros, which might be 50 million pounds, for me, that's too much money for Sanderberg. Like Sanderberg is a player we talked about a couple of years ago, and usually when I talk about Sanderberg, it comes down to price, and you go right. Sanderberg is considered a cheap option for a lot of transfer windows, and if you start talking about Sanderberg as like a 50 million pound player at 28. I mean, we got Tillemans, who I think is a better football player, and we got him for cheaper. So the Sanderberg deal for me, now we got Tillemans, it doesn't make any sense. And I think I saw a comment from Stu before we even started the stream that said you'd rather sign nobody than Sanderberg. And I guess with this one, Sandberg doesn't push our team forward, but it might, maybe what Sandberg does is gives Michael Carrick a better chance of rotating the squad a bit. But it does feel like not a big improvement overall. There's nothing wrong with him individually, but we've already got Tillemans for experience. I don't know why we need Sandberg as well. And I think Santos is a better football player anyway at the moment. And so basically, United are signing the midfield they could have got for 20 million pounds 4 years ago. Exactly, exactly. Tillemans was a free, wasn't he? I can't remember how much Sanderberg would have cost, but he would have probably been about 20, wouldn't he? Like, I don't think he cost much more than that about 4 years ago. So yeah, we could have done this. Right, we could have done it as well. Yeah, I would go with like I would go with crooks to be honest, guys. Too many crooks involved in this for sure as well. And if you're making excuses, third excuse the World Cup. I mean, Manchester United can't really make an excuse for not signing players using the World Cup because I mean the World Cup affects every club around the world. Barcelona yesterday just went here we go on Rodri, so they got Rodri deal done, and we're seeing City got Anderson. Looking at this as well, if you want to make the World Cup an excuse, we could have just gone harder and got Mathis Fernandes. We could have got Alex Scott, who hasn't been there either. So no, there's no excuse there. Spurs have got players in. that were at the World Cup. Man United were there, interested apparently, looking apparently, but we weren't doing much there at all. So Berger playing in the Championship at the time. I remember like 5 years ago on Red Devil United, we talked about this situation because one of the regular people on the channel was a big fan of Sander Berge, and this is going back about 5 years. This is like not recent. So Sander Berge has been on the radar of fans as a cheap option for a long time. When he was about 23, I think that we're talking about him. Yeah, the stadium is a golden goose for Ineos. It's not. It's nothing for Man United at the moment, is it? Jim says having a new stadium is brilliant, but it's nothing if your team is performing and is good in itself. If you think about it, then Barcelona are going to be going into their new stadium this summer, and they're going to be bringing Rodri there. World Cup winner Rodri is going to be like one of their flagship signings. And I can't remember who else they got. They got Gordon. They spent what £70 million on Gordon. And if you look at this, Barcelona have a lot of debt already, but they obviously have ambition to get quality players into their team. So, I mean, we're not going to sit here and say, well done, Barcelona. But in this regard, Barcelona are a massive problem to deal with. But in this regard, Barcelona are showing some ambition. And if you're a Barcelona fan, you'd look at it and go, right, Gordon signed, had a good World Cup. Rodri signed, had an excellent World Cup. There's reasons to be enthusiastic. You've just won the league. You're buying players that maybe your rivals, Madrid, thought they were going to get. So this is frustrating, isn't it? So Barcelona, for me, they're improving quite a lot as well. You only said you wanted Berg over Agate. I mean, I think at the time I wanted Neves over Agate, but unfortunately we got Agate. Mark says, what are our scouts doing? All players being linked are players we know. Where's our hidden gems? I think with this one, Mark, the scouts recommend players to Man United all the time. And often the scouts are not pushing the easy targets, that they are finding players. But Manchester United as a club are being very risk averse at the moment. And again, this is a decision based on like, the scouts can say what they think about players, but they're not the part of the decision making process, unfortunately. So usually, maybe more so recently, but usually the scouts are not listened to. And in the past, the scouts have recommended very good players, but people like I think Eric Ten Hag pushed to get Anana and other players signed in. Um, welcome with Isabella. Good to see you in the chat. Says Berg was sold to Fulham for 25 million, but for us it would have been nearer 75 million. I think at the time, then it might have cost a bit more. Maybe it would have been like 30, but he would have cost a bit more to us probably. But 25 million, I can't even remember at the time. At the time, I think we were thinking maybe 30, 35 possibly regarding this one. Yeah, no, I remember that, Al. I remember that. Fortunately, you wanted your gran over Agate. All I can say is, I remember at the time, a couple of years ago, on Red Devil United, we were talking about Agate. I remember clear as day, Dylan was there as part of the stream saying, why are we signing Agate? We're just giving PSG the money to buy a better football player. And unfortunately, that was proven to be true. We all suspected it. Agate was definitely like a Mendes deal. We did a favour to Mendes to get Euro, I believe, but it's not really doing us much of a favour, really. Be it to you, Niall. Hope you having a good day. Don't be, yeah, I don't think we're going to be worse than last season in the league, significantly worse anyway, like saying six. But I think Man United are going to be, we're going to struggle to improve for sure. I think the squad has about a similar amount of depth to last season with a big increase of games, unfortunately. I'm not saying it's pathetic what this club has become. Um, yeah, I can't really argue. I remember at the start of the transfer window, I said, look, we've got a lot of time. And I did say if it gets to mid-August and we're in the same situation, and it is mid-August, so we're getting towards the stage where our first Premier League game is days away. We've seen that the end of pre-season was a bit of a disaster, but to be honest, the last game against AC Milan, Bruno Fernandes, Cunha, lots of players coming back that are very rusty. So I'm not worried too much about the result, but have we done enough? And I think in terms of like preparation in pre-season, you never really do enough. The season always comes a bit too quick. I suppose it also depends on how well have Hull prepared, how well have other teams prepared. I think the problem we've got at the moment is going to be the squad hasn't really got loads more depth. We've replaced two players in midfield with another two players, and the question is going to be, you know, we had Casemiro last season and Ugarte. We've got Santos, we've got Tielemans. How much better can the signings we've got this year do? And actually, will they do better? Like, is there an argument that Casemiro in European competition always looked a lot better? In the Premier League, he still was a goal threat, but off the ball, sometimes caught out, struggling to like be as mobile. I mean, Tielemans I suppose is going to have to do a lot to replace kind of the goals that we're losing from Casemiro. I think for Tielemans, he's going to be more of a creator than a goal scorer, but we'll have to see regarding this one. But at the moment, it feels a little bit like we're treading water. That's kind of how I feel. I don't feel like we're going to be like significantly worse. It just feels a bit like we're just treading water and we're not going to be improving. That's the worry I've got. That a lot of other clubs are looking to push through and improve, and Man United at the moment are not one of those clubs. Al said you said we shouldn't sign Tielemans because he's a defensive liability and needs protecting. So the fan base noticed that he's slow after the AC Milan game. It's going to be a long season if that's the case. Big up to you, Doug, my friend. Hope you're doing well, Doug. And say, are United ready for the season starting? Holloway on paper is favourable fixture, but it's not easy. I think this one, the first game of a Premier League season, then if I was Hull, you'd be looking at this game thinking, right, that we need to make sure we keep the game tight. And I think it's going to be a frustrating one for Man United. Like, if this is the sort of game that if Hull keep a clean sheet for the first kind of 20 minutes, the home fans will get into the game. It's going to be a more difficult environment. I remember going to Old Trafford and watching Man United versus Hull in a 4-3 match, which is a bit of a crazy game. So I'm expecting Hull to turn up and make it difficult. I mean, you don't suddenly, you don't win games easily in the Premier League. You have to create a lot of chances. I do think United can create enough chances to win that game. The question is going to be like defensively, we look at shambles at the moment. So if I was Hull, I'd be looking at trying to exploit that because at the moment, Manchester United don't look like it look like we've got some defensive frailties which can be exploited at the moment. I agree. I think Mainu, like a lot will be expected from Mainu. Like he effectively did nothing the first half of the season because he wasn't in the team, and then under Michael Carrick he did look a good player. But again, I think it's a shame Mainu didn't play alongside Casemiro for a little bit longer. So I think that he was definitely gaining from that. And welcome the big dog to the chat. Says we will struggle this season, not just because of games, but down to having a championship level manager and coaching staff. I think that's a bit harsh on Michael Carrick, considering we finished third. But you know, we have to see. We will be covering all the matches obviously next season on the channel. And if we start losing games and you think it's Michael Carrick's issue or his coaching, etc., then we can definitely cover that. But also if Man United are winning games and we start off strong, then I think you have to give Michael Carrick a bit of credit regarding that one as well. But in terms of this one, I would say, do fans care how Manchester United play, or is results everything? Like for Man United, if you looked at Man United in 1999, for example, you could say, okay, a lot of the games we had to win them near the end. We had to, we didn't keep loads of clean sheets. We had to keep coming back from being behind and we just did it by sheer firepower at some points in time. But it depends. Like I think in terms of this one, that if we hit people, if we play on the counter attack and win, do people care? Is my question. Danny B. Well, maybe I might. I think I'm planning on doing a season prediction stream on Wednesday, actually. So on Wednesday we can cover this and say, right, how do we think the teams are going to fair, and this is going to be across the board from every Premier League team. So we'll cover all 20 teams in a stream. We'll do a tier list where we think they're going to finish. But at the moment, you're saying you think fifth or sixth for Man United. I think at the moment, like top 4 or 5. That's what I'm thinking. God, this one. If we win the cups, I will be genuinely disappointed. Like we been the cups last year, didn't we? And it was a bit of a disaster. I don't think it was intentional. I think we just weren't good enough. Welcome, Rob. Now, you're always good to see you, Rob. Just for people that are watching as well, tonight at 9 p.m. will be Jules's last stream as a host, possibly his last stream as a guest on the channel because he will be busier next season. So if you're watching a lot of YouTube content, a lot of football content, and you've watched his channel over the last sort of 6 months, Jules will be he's regularly hosting a Monday night show at 9 p.m. Tonight will be his last one. So if you're around at 9 p.m., please check it out. And so we're going to say hello to or say goodbye to Jules, but hopefully we'll get as many people as possible watching that one. So Jules will be a big loss to the channel, and we will try and like get new guests as well next season. But it'd be good if you people are around just to say thanks to Jules for being a really good host, really good guest, and a big support of the channel behind the scenes. I think he will still be able to jump on as a calling show guest and come on and give his say after matches as and when it's possible, but he's just not going to have enough time to do the longer stream. So that's a bit of a sad news for us personally, but hopefully tonight we can give Jules a bit of a nice send off. So let's go for a few of the comments and cheers, Kenny. I appreciate that. So Glinios may have been overly risk averse as Amazon are in-house and they will be watching. However, it's backfiring and they're looking clueless. Um, yeah, that is true. And where is Jules going? Jules just has less free time in his social life and his personal life, Jeff. So he's not going. He's still going to be like in and around. I'll still message him. I'll still chat to him, but he's not going to have the time to like schedule a stream, organize a stream, host, etc. So no, it's a shame. It's a shame. It's going to be 9 p.m. tonight UK time is the time, but it should be a good one. Kieran's going to come on as well. I'll try and show my face as well and just wish Jules the best. But no, that should be a good one. But no, it is a bit of a shame. So no, so let me just go for a few comments. Yeah, you're right, Gregory. Big up to you, Sky, as well in the chat, and Vril. Hope you guys are good. And Mr. B, and well, you beat Frankfurt 7-0. Damn. Okay. Even in pre-season, I do say a lot of time pre-season is pre-season, but if you win 7-0, fair play. That's a massive win. That's like can't really say anything regarding that one as well. George are doing a great job counterbalancing G Wolf. Yeah, that's a job that is not easily replaced. So in terms of this one, we had some great balance there. This is a bit like United TV. This is a bit like us losing Roy Keane, like let alone Casemiro. So we're going to be looking for a replacement for Jules long term. But in the short term, I don't know what we'll be doing, unfortunately. So yeah, we're not going to block Mr. B because he's a good guy, but yeah, it's pre-season, isn't it? It's pre-season. We'll chat when the season starts for sure. Scott says anyone who paid attention to Ineos at Nice knew exactly how they perform at United, and this was mentioned. Like you're right to mention this, Scott, and lots of other people have mentioned this. As soon as Ineos took over, and we did the stream like years ago on Red Devil United, and we talked about it, and we're looking at Nice, thinking, right, Nice were a bit of a disaster, really, and hoping that Man United would do better. At the moment, I think most people would say they're not doing better, like based on like, last season we finished third. That represents the highest we've finished since Ineos have been involved at the club. And if we drop down from third next season, then it's just going to feel like the same old. It's going to feel very much like a Man United over the last 10 years. We look like we improve a bit, then we drop down the next season. And I think the thing that's frustrating is like we got a lot of momentum last season. Going from 15th to third is a lot of momentum. Why are we not then suddenly backing Michael Carrick? Because I think that people criticise Michael Carrick, but I think you do a good job if you finish third in the league after finishing 15th. And you can even give like Ruben Amorim a bit of credit. Like he was obviously in charge for half the season as well. But finishing third is obviously a step in the right direction. And I saw that as a building block. 15th is an anomaly. It should be anyway. Third is like a bit better in terms of it's still. I'm not going to be having a celebration. Are we? We're not going to get the open bus top parade for finishing third in the league. Like we're not Arsenal. We need to start winning trophies on a regular basis again. But no, the Nice one, I think everyone was right. Unfortunately, Kenny says he's given Carrick credit, but yet the board never backed him. I mean, I don't know what more could have done in terms of like finishing third with that set of players as well. Um, Big up to you, Ryan. Hope you're good, my friend. I say Nice FC bought tons of old former Premier League players. There is a sort of what's the word? There is a disappointing parallel, isn't there, regarding this one as well? And yeah, welcome Legend Stephanie in the chat as well, saying we are a very long way off a title challenge, and that's the sad reality. Yeah, it is the sad reality, isn't it? And that's why I think when people like Kenny put a nice comment up about saying he enjoys the channel, and I was thinking I try to be positive, but I have to say exactly how I feel. And at the moment, I did have positivity and enthusiasm at the end of the season because the end of the season we finished quite strongly, and I was looking at it thinking, right, Carrick did quite well with what we had in the squad. He got some good performances out of the team. Results were good. Okay, even if some of the games were a little bit up and down, we got some good results. And I was thinking, right, get him a proper midfield and get him a left back, centre back, get him some like depth in the squad and some better football players, and let's see what we can do. Like let's give Carrick a good chance to try and do something in the Champions League. And I'm looking at it thinking, bloody hell, we're giving him the bare minimum, aren't we? It's like we're kind of we're not setting him up to fail, but we're not exactly giving him a lot to work with, are we? And Uh, Ryan says you really like Sanderberg, but he's a squad player, not a player to close the gap. Do you know what? I think with Sanderberg, it's a bit like if you're looking at a squad and go, oh, Tielemans is injured, you can go, okay, we've got Sanderberg, but it's not going to be like if Man United had Elliot Anderson or Brawadi, we'd be looking at those as going to be first team players. And if we got Sanderberg, I'd be thinking, well, Sanderberg, does Sanderberg get in ahead of Tielemans or Santos or Kobe Mainu? Like, where does he fit into the squad? Are we effectively replacing like a Toby Collier player? Are we effectively, if we're signing a player like Sanderberg, is he going to be in the first team, or is he going to be someone that plays instead of Agate? We're not going to have a drop off to Agate. We're going to bring on Sanderberg. That's the difference, and it doesn't mean we're going to be a better team because I don't think he's going to be in the first team. But maybe over the course of the season, it might be that there's a few games where we can go, oh, Sanderberg's playing. Okay, it's better than an academy player. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on Sanderberg. I'm just not really. I'm just not really that enthusiastic about it at the moment. But um, yeah, I was being diplomatic, so I'm just trying to not mention it too much. And the guy says if we lose Rashford now, I think we'll be in trouble. If he does go, I can see the deadline day drama with Bruno and Rashford. Um, there better not be any deadline day drama with Bruno Fernandes, otherwise Man United are in big trouble regarding their attack. Gregory says this is a 1 out of 10 window so far, historically poor. So say Carrick's remit is to do a Leicester City. That Leicester City are the only team to win a Premier League title on a budget. But I think a lot of that came down to like good fortune. Like Kante obviously worked out better than anyone was expecting. Mara, I don't know where they got Maras from, but he was obviously a good signing. But it was good for 1 year, wasn't it? And it was good for 1 year. I think Man City had a bad year. Arsenal had a bad year. We obviously had a disappointing year as well. And the only title challenges Leicester had to deal with were Spurs, and Spurs obviously like found a way to bottle it. But no, if we're trying to do that, how is this going to happen? It's going to be crazy. Um, I think with this one, with new player integration, which is something which takes time. If you remember last season, Cunha wasn't ready at the start of the season. He eventually came through after a few games, and it probably took like at least half the season, I think, before we saw the best of Cunha. I think Mbeumo maybe he hit the ground running, But I also think with Benjamin Sesko, it took Sesko about half the way through the season. So we saw a better version of Sesko and Cunha under Michael Carrick. I think part of it's because of Carrick, but also part of it was it just took a bit of time for Cunha and Sesko just to like kind of like sync with Bruno Fernandes and the rest of the team. And I think, unfortunately, Stephanie, integrating players effectively in pre-season is something which we don't seem to do because we don't buy the players until the season starts. That's the problem. I say Sanderberg gets in against Hull or maybe Arsenal, teams we need height for. I guess with this one, that yeah, maybe this is like one of the reasons as well if you want a bit of height in your team. But again, overall, then it feels a bit like if you're going to be playing against Arsenal with Sanderberg, then maybe it's going to be a more defensive kind of game. So I can see it in some games, Jeff. Like, I'm not saying it's a disastrous signing, but does it suddenly make us like a much better team? Berg would walk into our first team, says Scott. Welcome Tommy to the chat. Says Hull have made some great signings. It will be a tough game for sure. And say they've got 16 goals last season for a player they've just signed. So yeah, this is what also with Man United that I mean Harry Maguire hasn't played a lot of football, but he did look a bit out of sorts, to put it kindly, against AC Milan. And I was just thinking, Man United had, with experienced strikers or decent strikers, we did struggle a bit last season, particularly in the Leeds game where Dominic Calvert-Lewin was a big problem as well. So maybe we're looking at this as well. Interesting though, as well, they changed the way they're refereeing the games in the World Cup regarding corners. Is that going to be something that we see happening in the Premier League? Possibly, in which case we could see it. Maybe the tactics Arsenal use might not work at the moment. Mr. B saying, don't underestimate Hull. No, I'm not underestimating Hull. I remember when Brentford got into the Premier League, one of their first games was they beat Arsenal 2-0 in the opening game of the season. And I remember that clearly because Arsenal then had to play City and Chelsea and lost both of them, so they were pretty much bottom of the league. So no, you have to look at these games that Man United's record historically against bottom, like let's say teams that have been promoted from the Championship, has been pretty good. But again, there's always the first time to drop points, and you don't want to see this happening on the first day of the season as well. So no, I think Hull City, when they got promoted years ago, they were on a very good run. So no, I don't underestimate them, but again, it's going to be pretty difficult as well. Hull just signed a new version of Berg. Yeah, maybe this one as well. Yeah, well, I'm not saying Arsenal won that. I don't know if you're replying to a different comment, but yeah, Arsenal were obviously the best team last season, but they are going to referee things a bit different for regarding set pieces, so it might be more difficult for them next season. Yeah, one thing that's going to be changing as well is if you're looking at the AFCON situation regarding a tournament mid-season, I think they're moving AFCON to the summer, and it's not going to be every 2 years, it's going to be every 4 years. So this is not going to be a thing that affects Man United or other teams in the say again. So no, definitely after AFCON, Almajolo and Embuemo would definitely. It could be like extra games, could be like I don't know what the reason was really, to be honest, but they're only playing the same amount of football, but we might get a bit of a World Cup hangover as well. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think with Man United fans, that after last season, I think when the draw got made and we saw we were playing Hull, I think a lot of fans went, "Great, we're going to play Hull," and yeah, still, it's a good game to start on, and you're going to have to play them all the teams eventually anyway. But this is a good opportunity where if Man United start strongly, then hopefully we can get a win, and hopefully, after a few games, maybe we can be looking at Man United near the top of the league. I have a different opinion to Malps. You're saying you're hoping Hull beat us. I mean, I'll say this: if Hull win, it doesn't mean Man United are going to get extra players in or do better signings because Ineos and the Glazers are still pretty slow. So I think if we've seen AC Milan beat Man United, if Hull beat us, then yeah, if anything, it's going to put pressure on the team. But no, I don't think that's going to. No, that's obviously not something I want to see happen. I want to see Man United thrash Hull. And if Man United only buy the players we've got at the moment, I'm going to be disappointed. But I still think with this one that I still think Michael Carrick's going to have enough in the squad to finish like fairly high up the league. But obviously not improve on last season. But yeah, um, I'll say Malps. We finished 15th and we lost loads of games, and the owners have there's no way the owners are going to leave until like a stadium's completed. So if we lose games, it just hurts the financial situation. So I can't really see how it's a good thing as well. But different opinion. But back to this, any thoughts on whether so are people saying that Santos a 15 million pound I don't think with maybe this one, Scott. I think Santos might play a lot more games than people are expecting over the next season. I think in terms of like, I don't see how, like, calling him a Chelsea flop. I think Chelsea saw him as the next player to come through. You got Caicedo, you got Fernandez. It's a bit like having, I suppose, it's a bit like having PK at Manchester United when you've got so what's the best way of putting it? So when Man United had Rio Ferdinand and we had Vidic, PK didn't really get into the team, but we had him about the same sort of time. He went back to Barcelona, played at a very high level there. But I wouldn't say he was a Man United reject. I'd just say he just didn't get much chance. So I think Santos, I can't really comment too much on what he did at Chelsea, but in pre-season he looks like a good signing. And maybe with this one, if Code Manu isn't back quite soon. I think we might see a good player, and maybe this one. We haven't signed Sanderberg, but we have got Chilemans and we got Santos. I think Santos might end up playing quite a lot of games next season, particularly as I don't think he mainly will have like times out of the team where he does pick up knocks. So I think that there is a lot of expectation on him, unfortunately. So is this a question, or are you worried? Like Jeff saying, you're worried about Bruno and others who played a lot this summer. Bruno Fernandes literally just came back. So I think with this one, Bruno Fernandes looked a little bit out of sorts on the weekend. But I think give him like a bit more time, he will be back somewhere near his best. I mean, it's difficult because last season was like one of his best. So is he going to be as good? There may well be a World Cup hangover because it's just a lot of football. And I think in pre-season, and Bremer looked very fresh. And maybe, maybe actually one to look out for might be Spurs midfield. You got Tonali, you got Fernandez. They both had the season off. They might be quite fresh. So there may be a bit of a World Cup hangover regarding some of the players. We'll have to see. But Bruno has played he plays a lot of games for Man United and has played a lot over the years and does play a lot in the World Cup. And I think people are expecting him to play a lot of games next season as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think Santos will do quite well. That's kind of it's more of a guess than a prediction as well. So I think it will do quite well. I think the most likely, Gregory, is going to be if Santos would leave if like a big offer comes in as well. So, um, Santos isn't worth 50 million, says Big Dog. It's really difficult, isn't it? That I think most of the transfers at the moment are ridiculous. Is Anderson worth 115? Is Santos worth 50? Is Tonali worth 100? Is like Fernandez worth so 85 million? So maybe next season, I would say give it like till Christmas, give it a few months, and then we can probably then say whether these players are worth it. Like it's really difficult to say how much these players are worth when you've never seen them play. Like, if you sign a player like Lamans, you know he's going to be worth it. I think at the time when Man United signed Mbeumo and Cunha, people were like, 50-50. Like, um, was Sesko worth the amount of money Man United paid? And like £50 million seems like a lot considering his age. I guess that maybe with this one, that maybe the end of next season we can just, it might be the time to assess it. Like £50 million, I've no idea at the moment. Like Agate wasn't worth 50. Was Fred worth 50? Then I don't think so. Maybe we can discuss it next season as well. And how how much do people think that Berg would cost actually? Like, would he cost the same amount of money as well? Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Kate. I'm going to agree with you that we don't know if it's a good signing or not until until we see. Like, the good thing is that he's on the right age profile. So if he's not worth £50 million now, is he going to be worth £50 million in, I don't know, 6 months' time, 12 months' time? The difference between like a £25 million player and a 50 to £60 million player seems to be like one good season in the Premier League. There does seem to be that's like kind of the criteria. So I don't know. It's say £40 million is the limit. This is for Sanderberg as well. I think with this one, there's a lot of football played by Declan Rice and Zubimendi, but also they've got Saliba injured, so I think there's going to be like a lot of there's a lot of unknowns regarding this one. I think I remember last season looking at social media and looking at YouTube community, and people were pretty much saying Liverpool are going to win everything. They've got like Isak, they got Verts, and people were just like getting overexcited. And we just saw they struggled for most of the season. Never really got going actually, but maybe a year later with a better manager, maybe they improve. Who knows? And I think also this one there's going to be lots of scrutiny about Man City because they got badly beaten yesterday. But again, who knows what's going to happen? I think Arsenal, it's a long season, isn't it? I'm expecting Arsenal to start off strong, but it's a long season and there's a lot of people that played a lot of minutes. So hopefully they fall apart at some point as well. Nice to see a lot of love in the chat. And Yari says £50 million for Santos will be one of the best deals United do in a long time, and saying this guy is incredible. You cannot buy this sort of talent on this cheap. So Yari is very very happy regarding this one. Malp says I'll be stunned if we get Champions League football. I think I think you should be prepared to be stunned, Malps. I think Man United are going to get Champions League football, but I just don't think we're going to be levels above what we were last season. I think the points total we got last season, we should look at trying to get something similar or improve on that slightly. But we did, don't forget, we did start off incredibly slowly last season and we accrued a lot of points from January onwards. So there's no reason why Carrick and the coaches and roughly the same sort of playing staff can't get something similar regarding this one. Yeah, I think with this one, I don't want to. I'm not going to comment on season ticket holders. Like we got JR, we can talk to him. He was on the stream, I think on the weekend, saying that he almost lost his season ticket because his brother used his ticket. So I don't know. If you lose, I think the thing with United is if you lose your season ticket or give it up, they instantly find someone else. And if anything, the club actually would be happy for season ticket holders to hand in their season tickets and they'd sell the tickets to tourists. So I don't know, it's very difficult, isn't it? If United, like for Man United fans, I think when you go there, the atmosphere is good. If you replaced it with tourists, the atmosphere wouldn't be as good, but for the club, they'd make more money. So again, I think if season ticket holders did try and walk away I'm not going to say the club's too big to fail, but they would certainly be able to make money as well. You might end up with a situation like City where you don't have full occupancy of seats, but they'd probably be selling them for higher prices as well. Big up to you, Jeff. Have a good day at work. Yeah, Jules' last stream tonight, 9 p.m. Make sure you check that out as well. I think it's like I think with this one, people just enjoy a day out, football, etc. And I don't know. I think it's like I would never comment on what people spend their money on. I spent a lot of my money on guitars in the past and would still do so, and it's because it's something I enjoy. And I think if people enjoy, it's not just about. I think for Man United fans, if I'm sat at home, it's purely about the results and about hopefully enjoying the game for 90 minutes. Okay, sometimes you don't enjoy the full 90 minutes, but there's bits you like, and the result might be good. But if you're going to go there as part of like a season ticket holder fan base, then it's a social thing as well. You meet up with your friends, you go to the pub beforehand. It's a different thing, isn't it? It's a bit like going like it's some sort of event as well. So the football's obviously important, but if you're watching at home, that's all you got, isn't it? You're not going to be having the same environment. And you know, people have done it for decades, haven't they? So, but maybe it's going to get less over time. You've never tried fish and chips, Yai? You're telling me like a couple of days ago that you haven't had any days at 30 degrees. Then you should get yourself to the UK for a bit. We've had like non-stop heat waves all summer. I say good chip shop near Old Trafford. I mean, I've just got stuff from like Vans when I've been there, but I usually get a banjo. Um, I don't know. Can I plug it into an amplifier? To be honest, actually, Cake, I get on quite well with my neighbours, like really well, but I do have a drum kit in the corner of the room. So if I wanted to annoy people, I would go down that route because I can't actually play the drums, so that would annoy them further. But no, what I'm saying is like other hobbies are available. I wouldn't really say yeah. Um, it's difficult to comment on people's individual circumstances, isn't it? Like, I'm not going to be. I can't really afford to go and watch the games week in week out because it costs too much, and I live nowhere near the ground now. But for some people as well, like Gaz was saying, some fans don't want to give up their season tickets. They might never get one back in their lifetime, and that's that's the basis of it, isn't it? And maybe with this one, breaking news. I'm not that noisy, but I can be if I need to be. So, Wizard Bet says at the end of the day, wherever we spend our money, some money grabbing capitalist is gaining. That is true. That's true. So I think that the take home message from this one is just spend your money on things you enjoy doing. If you enjoy going to the matches and you enjoy a day out with like friends and family, and that's part of what you do, go for that. If you're going to be happy to never see the team live and spend your money on other things, again, do that as well. And if you want to get replica kits, there's like 1,000 different sites you can use that are not going to be giving the Glazers money if you want to do that one as well. No, no, I haven't. Are they still a thing? All I'll say is that the next door neighbours, both sides, we get on well. And actually, where I live, we have like a once a year we've had like a barbecue where everyone meets up with each other as well. When am I doing the request show? Um, all I'll say is like regarding this one, I do have a music channel, but I haven't uploaded yet because I need to do something in this room. I'm going to get some blinds on the window, and then I'm going to redecorate a bit, move things around a bit, and then that's something for maybe the end of the year. I'll do something, and so you're going to get a Chinese replica of the kit Ronaldo 9. That's close enough to R9. That made me laugh. And Mark's saying this is why these owners will win. I think that it's really difficult, isn't it? Unless someone comes in with crazy money, they're going to be stuck here, aren't they? So what I'll do, I'll go for a few questions. And for people that are watching, please tune in at 9 p.m. tonight. Important stream. Jules' last one. It's going to be a good one as well. Um, I would say guitar and drums, like guitar and drums. I know, I got that. I got that. It wasn't a typo. I got that one. Um, Kate says, I completely agree. I would rather not put my money into the club when I know it's not being invested back into the team. I think that's a very fair point, actually. In terms of like this one, when Manchester United were not owned by the Glazers, there was zero debt, and most of I say all the money was spent on improving the team. If Man United had, I don't even care about the debt, but if Manchester United's taking dividends out of the club, for me, that's giving money straight to the Glazers and Ineos. So I think that we don't like Man City, we don't like other teams like say Chelsea, Newcastle, but some of these teams they do put money into the club. So if Man United's owners were putting money in, then I think it might be a different story. Then we'd be dealing with incompetence. But I do agree with like Cake that if they're taking out dividends, then that's effectively just taking our money, which it is like for me out of order. But I don't mind. I don't mind a club. Like, okay, it's bad if the club's running competently. That's just really embarrassing. But if the club's actively taking money out like Man United has done, I think that's where, yeah, I can see where people are saying this as well. So you've got loads of soundproofing for sale if my neighbours are interested. Um, I'll bear it. I'll bear it in mind. I'll bear it in mind, Tommy. So number nine shirt. Everyone seems to want it. True, false. Is if Rashford's wearing it? Do you think with this one? I'll say this about Rashford that apparently he's got number 14 shirt. I don't know if he's going to get a different number shirt, and I don't even know if Marcus Rashford's going to be a Man United player when the season starts. And at the moment, no one else knows if he's going to be a Man United player either. I think there's more chance of Rashford being a Man United player than Sanderberg is. I'll say that. So I don't. That's probably not good news, but yeah, that's what I'll say. Um, so I go through a few comments. Yeah, I'm going to try not to say too much to people. Random account says, in my opinion, the only way the vampires sell is if they get a huge offer, and they won't happen if we're not competing for majors. Say, I think that yeah, I think Man United actually wanted. I think Manchester United actually wanted to maybe raise interest in the club and try and I don't know if they wanted to sell. I think the Glazers wanted to get investment in the squad but keep control and say there's 1 billion Manchester United fans. Why can't we all put in 10 in cash and buy our club back? And then get Goldbridge. Goldbridge as CEO might not be the best way of doing it as well. But welcome to the chat saying panic buying. Um, is this a panic buy? I mean, or so question for people watching then. This will be like the final question I ask people. If Man United bought Sanderberg, it's going to be late in the window. Is this a panic buy? Yes or no? Like we spent a lot of the stream arguing about the Glaze, or say actually no, we spent a lot of the thing. The Lakers just sold. Damn, I support the Lakers. I might have to look into that. Um, 12 billion. The difference is the way US sports is set up. All the teams make a profit every single season, so that's why they're worth more. Just to put that out there. Man United does bring in money for sure, but yes, American sports teams are crazy. No, they had like I can't remember what the name of the family was, but they is it something Bus? Is it BUSS? I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I think was it Jenny that was in charge of it. But no, they were like family owned for a long time. Okay, I've got no name on the back of my shirt. I'll just say this. Um, so Jim ever open his wallet to agree to acquire Victor Osserman, the sort of striker who'd make a real difference while we wait for Sesko to solidify himself? Um, I don't think. I think Victor Osman, from what I can't remember where I read it now. I think he's getting an astronomical salary, so I don't think he'd be bought for that reason. I can't remember how much it was now, but I think he's getting an incredible salary. I can't remember where I read it, but I don't think it's going to happen. So Berg panic buy, a good panic buy. Berg says Danny B. And Bassuma's on a free, won't be going for him. I don't know. I don't. I think the marquee signing as well is a bit of a myth. Like, in terms of marquee signings, I think you just have good signings or bad signings. Scott says Berg is not a panic buy because they scouted him for over 4 years. It was a long time as well. You're saying I think with this one, okay. I think there is obviously there's obviously winning and losing in American sports, and I think with this one that there's no relegation, but then it's different, isn't it? Because they don't have the same historical structure. But it's the same as same with baseball, American football. It is a bit of there is kind of a collective agreement of how much you can spend on player salaries and things in order for everyone to make a profit. But I don't think you can say they're not. They are obviously there's sports teams and the sportsmen playing for them, but it's a bit of a different organisation because you don't have the grassroots. You have a college system and you have players drafted. It's just completely different. I think it's just. I think that the Super League would have been a bit like the American sports system where you'd have the same teams every single year and you have a guaranteed income. And I think that's why some owners saw that as this is like something nice. We want to make profit every single season, but it's not something that for British fans, it's not something you want to see. And I guess for other European fans, you don't want to see that either. And in fact, if we want to work out who's the best team in Europe, we've got the Champions League anyway. You do get draws, actually. You do get draws in American football if it goes to overtime and there's a certain amount of time. So you do get draws. It's just very very rarely very rare you get those ones as well. And I think words of wisdom from Gregory: patience doesn't bring you rewards in the transfer window. It gives you leftovers, but it gives you leftovers that cost the same as the players that you wanted to get early on in the window. So it gives you very expensive leftovers, Gregory, and it's not ideal for me. It's disappointing as well. And big up to people watching as well. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and please get involved in the chat if you are new as well. So what's saying, respect to the Norwegian fans on pre-season, showed up in small numbers, we were not prepared to buy tickets, these ridiculous prices. I think that they did try and charge way too much, didn't they? They got on this one. You would need to pay Osman 500k a week to give him the same take home. Turkey only taxpayers at 15%. I saw something where they were talking about how much it costs to sign Osman. I read it yesterday, and they were talking about it in terms of how many millions per year. And when I saw that, I was working out thinking, you got say 500k a week. There's no way Manchester United are doing this deal. So I think in answer to your question, Gregory, never going to happen. Welcome United Spotlight. Good to see you in the chat. And I think I might have seen you on Gray's channel, but I definitely remember seeing you somewhere. But thank you for getting involved and saying standing still means one thing in the Premier League. You go backwards, and at best we have stood still. So I agree. The depth Man United have got at the moment, if you can call it depth, is the same as last season, isn't it? So I do take your point as well. I've said a few times, I don't think we're going to be significantly worse. But what I'm thinking is, if you think about last season as almost like two different seasons, you got the first half of the season with Ruben Amorim, you got the second half with Michael Carrick. I'm thinking, right, we're going to have a whole season of Michael Carrick, which, okay, if you just look at the Premier League, it was quite good in results. But you're going to factor in Champions League, domestic cups, and the squad is roughly the same. So I would be saying that if you look at Michael Carrick's half of the season, I don't think we're going to get that many points. We're not going to get two times that many points over the whole season. There's going to be a bit of a drop off, but I think the drop off would still give us contention for Champions League places, or at least as a bare minimum, the top of the Europa League kind of race. But that's not really enough for Man United, is it? So, and yeah, United spotlight. I agree with you, but there's still a little bit of time, still a little bit of time to go. But I did say this time, this is not a well thought out, well planned window. If you're looking at 17th of August, let's get some signings done. That yeah, we talk about Newcastle and the players they've sold. If Manchester United wanted Lewis Hall, We should have been there a month ago. Like we should have been. The price isn't going to be going down, is it? Newcastle aren't going to suddenly go, "Oh, we've got good money from these players. Let's let Lewis Hall go cheap." It's going to be the opposite. They're going to just go, "No, we've sold loads of players. We've got to replace loads. He's going to cost way more." Welcome, Grace, to the chat. Hope you're doing well. And just for people who just tuned in as well, I've said this a few times, but the stream tonight, 9 p.m., is going to be the last one that Jules does as well. So if you're around at 9 p.m. UK time, it's going to be the last stream that Jules does, which is a shame. Kieran will also be on the channel as well tonight, and there might be other people as well. So please, if you are around, then yeah. Now, be at United Spotlight. Yeah, I agree. Agree. If I say enough things, eventually, eventually, maybe someone will agree. No. Um, yeah, the Bassis. I can't. Yeah, I agree. This one. Great. Have we signed Mbappe yet? No. As far as I can see, we're definitely interested. No, I don't know. I think with this one, like, Mbappe is like a game changer. There's no way he comes with that. My best bet's going to be over the transfer window. I think there's going to be maybe I think Man United will sign a left back, but I don't think it's going to be Lewis Hall. And I think Man United might get another midfielder in, but I don't think it's going to be an expensive one. So maybe what about Robinson and Sanderberg? Are we going to do like a Fulham raid over the end of the window? I hope we don't really. I hope we don't spend a huge amount of money buying a lot of players, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. So just go for the last couple of questions. Oh my God, that's going to be a fair upgrade, isn't it? Um, Berger's basically Weghorst of midfield, says Cake. I mean, some people like Weghorst. I was, I don't know, a bit indifferent as well. Did I see the Milan player run of Mazraoui? I would never let that happen, says Grace. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, Grace. David Ram from RB Leipzig, left back. Release clause about 34 million, 28 years old. He could be something similar to Robinson in terms of like age profile. And I think they're the more likely deals. I think Man United are more likely to do a deal for a player that's that sort of age. And I think that's going to be in combination with getting younger players. That's what we're looking at as well. S. Madison says mid-table signings. Why would Fulham sell in the last week of the window? They don't have time to replace him. That this is exactly it. This is no different from Manchester United trying to sign Carlos Baleba a year ago, right at the end of the window. Like teams do not want to sell their useful players at the end of the window. So it's really stupid, isn't it? It's really stupid. Scott says I liked Weghorst because he was a pressing machine, and that helped us a lot in Ten Hag's first season. Where has the money gone? We know where it will be going into the. I think the previous money went into the pockets of the what I think the Glazers have taken out about 1 billion over the time, and he also put money in. Like it hasn't gone into anyone else's pockets yet, but a lot of the money, I think, when you sign players like Anthony for whatever it costs, and a lot of the poor signings that didn't help as well. But I think most of this one's going to be like Gregory. Most of the money that's coming in just got spent badly. But I think at the moment that United can buy players now and pay for them in the future. It's not really a problem, but it doesn't seem that that's going to happen as well. Vrill says, yeah, I think we might still be paying for Woodward's players possibly, and like I think how much money did Eric Ten Hag spend? About 600 million, was it? Something like that. And how much should we sell those players for? I think the answer is probably hardly any. I think Rasmus Højlund went for 34 million, and other players have not been sold for significant money. So that is the problem as well. Yeah, Liverpool getting Jeff Bezos is possibly quite bad news, isn't it? And yeah, no, Scott also said it probably also goes to pay down the debt that has been loaded onto the club since the Glazers took over as well. So yeah, this stream, I was hoping for a bit a bit more optimism from fans, but no, this is unfortunately this is where we are. All I'll say is that tonight Jules will be hosting. Hopefully he'll have something positive to talk about. I'm trying to think regarding this one. Um, no, probably not regarding this one. Are you seriously going to be? I do actually. I do know a Hull City fan. I'm going to be away on Friday and for a few days. I might be able to do something before then, possibly. I'll have to find out when they're available, but I might be able to do a preview with a Hull City fan so we can just ask them about their team, etc. Find out what deals they've done. So it might be worth doing this as well. Um, so I'm Fist said, yeah, so we do need a midfielder who's not injury prone. True. Tielemans, yeah, I don't know if he's too injury prone, missed a few games last season. I'd say mainly does seem to have a few issues at the moment. Santos, though, I'm not so sure, but yeah, no, that should be a criteria for certainly if we're going to buy a centre back, 100%, I'll be looking at that as well. Uh, people are like a bit negative about the start of the season, it seems, but yeah. Scott says Ten Hag gets a very raw deal from United fans. I think it's the spend that people blame Eric Ten Hag for. And Tommy's saying current transfer debt, say £360 million, 209 needs paying off this year. Yeah, maybe this is the thing is though, you can penny pinch too much. Man United could just borrow more money and pay for it with future Champions League appearance money. So all I'm saying is, if I was in charge of Man United, yeah, you've got to pay the debt off, that's for sure. But you can also borrow money because falling out of the Champions League positions, the key has got to be make sure you qualify for the Champions League at a minimum. If you start dropping out of that competition, it's going to cost you a lot more money in the long run. And I say no trophies for 6 years before Ten Hag came in, none since he left. So no, first season, good season. What third and the League Cup, and then the FA Cup. We just borrowed 125 for the land. Maybe there's going to be an issue with the stadium. I think possibly as well. And people asking about calling shows, we did do one after the match on the Saturday, and what we might do is that there might be one possibly midweek, but there will definitely be something after the game. But it might not be hosted by me because I might be away, so there might be a guest host on the weekend. But before I go, please tune in tonight, 9 p.m. if you're around. And how much is Believer? Last time I saw about 65, I think, is a guess at the moment. But tonight, 9 p.m., please tune in if you're around. Jules is going to be hosting. It's going to be the last time Jules gets to host, and it might be the last time Jules gets to be a guest on the channel as well, which is a shame. So please tune in for that one if you're around, and that should be a good stream as well. And then tomorrow I'll be live at 1 p.m. again. Hopefully, there's some more news. I might do some shorts or shorter videos if the news really dries up. Just or if you prefer a live stream, let me know because I do think when there's not much news, I'm kind of 50-50 thinking, should I do a live stream or should I just do like some sort of short video? But if you prefer a live stream where you can interact, just let me know in the comments. And then, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you 9 p.m. tonight.